Welcome to this episode of Holistic Healing with Lorrie. And today we're going to be helping out our nervous system. We're going to be addressing any of the shoulds in your mind. Now, this can be anything from I should be well by now, or I should be able to do the dishes, or I should be able to ... And it can also be all the shoulds that you feel like you should have done already in your life or should be doing in your life. This is a thing for anybody and everybody, really. I don't think that maybe there are a couple of people out there in the world who don't have this pressure of these feelings of shoulds. But most of us certainly feel them. I know that I do, much less than I used to, but especially if you're dealing with a chronic illness and your capacity is limited, right? You're not able to do a lot of the things that other people take for granted. So if you're dealing with long hauler syndrome, if you're dealing with ME/CFS, with fibromyalgia, you might have a day where you're not able to fulfill what you feel like your obligations are. So we're going to do a tapping meditation on this that I hope is going to bring you a lot of relief. You might need to do it more than once. Also, just know that as we're doing these physical actions, that if you're having a day where you're worried that, or that you know that actually doing the physical actions might cause you post-exertional malaise, you can actually just imagine that you're doing the tapping, or you can even just watch me and repeat the phrases. And I've actually, many years ago, I worked with two paraplegics. They were my clients for several months. And we found that by them just imagining doing the tapping, it worked just as well as actually physically doing the tapping. So go ahead and take a moment here to write down the main should that you would like to address and rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is the most negatively charged. So let's say your should is, I should be well by now, and you feel really frustrated and actually maybe a little judgmental, or a lot judgmental of yourself. You know, why have I not gotten well by now? I should be well by now. That might be up at a 10. Maybe it's just at a 5. So whatever that is for you, pause the recording right now, pause the episode, and come back to it once you've written down that should, or several shoulds if you want to, but choose just one of them and rate them, scale of 0 to 10. All right, great. So now that you're back, we're gonna start doing our tapping. I'd like you to take a gentle breath in from your belly and start tapping on the side of your hand. And I'm going to guide you through this whole thing. And for the most part, you're going to be repeating phrases after me. Repeating them out loud is best if you can. You can also just do it in your head if you're in a place where you can't do it out loud. And what we always do with this process is we acknowledge the negative thoughts first, and then we start to move it to more positive thoughts. So continuing to tap on the side of the hand, repeating after me, even though my thoughts are full of shoulds, I choose to just watch this pattern, and I'm open to shifting it. Still on the side of the hand, even though I have all of these thoughts about what I should and shouldn't do, and where I should be in my life, I choose to relax now. Still on the side of the hand, even though I put so much pressure on myself to do these shoulds and to follow these rigid rules that I set for myself, I give myself permission to soften and to breathe. And now you're going to tap on these specific points. So you're going to start on the inner eyebrow and repeating after me here. This pressure I put on myself is so strong. Outer eye, repeating again after me. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a choice. Right under the eye here. And I do things because I think I should. Under the nose here. And not because I really want to do them. Under the mouth, repeating after me still. Sometimes I don't listen to my inner truth. Now on your collarbone. Now collarbone is a little bit trickier, but you'll get it. So you're going to go to that inner knobby point of one or both of your collarbones, or either one of your collarbones. Then you're going to go down and then over to the side, to the outside, just a little bit until you find a kind of a soft indention there. And you can tap there. If you are afraid that you don't have it, then just tap around that area. That's fine. Again, repeating after me, all this pressure I put on myself. Now, under the arm, this is about where your bra strap would be. What if I could start to let some of this pressure go? Top of the head. What if I could let go of some of this thought pattern? And now back to the inner eyebrow. And you can use either hand. Some people say that using your dominant hand is best, but continuing to tap, and you don't need to repeat after me this time around, just listening as I ask you some questions and talk about some different ideas here. So continuing on the eyebrow, our brains, our minds, they're always trying to help us, to protect us usually. But a lot of times the thoughts that we have, while they are actually supposed to be helpful, they can backfire and cause a lot of difficulty. And this should pattern of thinking is one of those cases. Side of the eye. A lot of times with this type of thinking, we can set these rules for ourselves about what we should be doing and what we should have accomplished by now. And this can lead to us feeling like we're not enough, or also like we don't have a choice. And so it can cause us to act out of a place of fear or a place of pressure rather than following our bliss, right? Or even rather than following through with what we know is better for us. Under the eye. So when we're thinking so much of these things that we feel we should do, we must do, we ought to do, that's a sign of these types of patterns of thoughts. So some examples of that include, I should be better by now. I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't feel this way emotionally. I should know how to do this. I shouldn't have made that mistake in the past. Or I shouldn't have to ask for help. Or I have to, ... whether it's an email or the dishes, whatever that is. And tapping under the nose. And a lot of times our mind thinks that when we set high expectations for ourselves, that it will help us to be motivated to do what we need to do. But we end up putting a lot of pressure on ourselves and raising our stress levels. And that means that our body isn't as easily able to do the healing that it needs to do. And then also, when we can't live up to those shoulds, we end up judging ourselves, getting angry, feeling guilty, feeling frustrated and upset, and even feeling a lot of shame, and believing that we're not enough, and that we're a failure. And this holds us back from being able to choose what's going to be best for us. And eventually, it also holds us back from healing in a lot of ways. And now, under the mouth. So, making the decision right now to begin to let go of some of this thinking pattern. Collarbone. So let's go back to those thoughts, to any thoughts that are coming up for you about any shoulds, and bring to mind some of the specifics. And you can even say them out loud if you'd like to. And under the arm. And if you're running into a lot of shoulds, that's okay. You're not alone. And it's okay to allow all those shoulds to come up, because as you're tapping on them, you're going to find that the charge on getting all of that done, or on all those shoulds of where you should be right now, that it's going to start to disperse. Because as you tap, you're able to start to release them. And top of the head, whatever is coming up for you is just fine. It's okay. You want to be present and to be experiencing those shoulds fully right now. Inner eyebrow, you are safe. As you're noticing these thoughts and feelings, as you're feeling them, and you're also safe as you start to let them go. Letting them go even just 1%. Continuing to tap and letting these thoughts play out fully. We want to actually allow the mind to be in these patterns of shoulds, so that the tapping can work its magic, which it does, but actually it does it in a very specific way in order to let them go. And side of the eye, allowing yourself, inviting yourself to soften as you continue to notice these should thoughts. Maybe allowing yourself to breathe from your belly. Maybe you find yourself yawning. Under the eye. And now asking yourself, what if I could let go of even just 1% of these shoulds? What would it be like to not be putting this pressure on myself, to be free of it? What if I could let go of these shoulds? Under the nose. It's okay for your brain to soften. And it's okay to let go of any of those shoulds. And under the mouth, giving yourself permission to trust yourself to make the choices that work for you and that work for your health. And trusting that you'll be able to get done what needs to be done. And I wonder if I can do the things that need to be done without the pressure that I usually put on myself. Collarbone, continuing with your tapping to send a calming signal to the amygdala, to that part of your brain, which allows your brain and your body to be in a softened state, in a grounded state, where you can think more clearly. And you're releasing these shoulds. And now under the arm, knowing that you are honoring yourself as you allow yourself to take actions as they feel best to you. And top of the head, releasing any shoulds even more, allowing yourself to soften, appreciating yourself and what you're doing right now with the tapping. And maybe this is all easier than I thought. And releasing. Just allow yourself to just be with this shift for yourself for a few moments here. And then as you're ready, slowly open your eyes and re-rate those shoulds on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is the most negatively intense. And let me know in the comments or with an email if you shifted. Now, a quick note about the EFT process. If you found that you got more stirred up by doing the process, if you found that you started to get angry or even more frustrated, that's actually a really good sign. It usually means that you've been pushing your emotions away. We want those emotions to come up. So if that was the case for you, then keep on tapping and you will find that the charge does eventually start to go down. Same kind of thing if you found that your charge didn't change, right? Another thing that happens sometimes is that the aspect shifts. So maybe you started out by tapping on the shoulds that you had given yourself for today. And what it ended up moving to is the should of, I should be well by now. So in that case, you want to tap on really one or the other and get that charge down and then go to the other one, right? Most of us have a lot of shoulds. So that would be a great thing to do. So keep on tapping. Just remember that usually one round of tapping is not going to do it 100%. It's not going to take you from, say, a 10 down to a 0 just in one go, though sometimes it does. So again, let me know. Thank you so much for being with us on this episode of Holistic Healing with Lorrie. And please share this with somebody that you think it will help out. This is a great one for anybody. It's not just if you have chronic illnesses. And I'll see you in the next episode.